Jake Miller stood in front of the mirror in his small room aboard the USS Harmony. He fixed his blue diplomatic uniform one more time and took a deep breath. Today was the most important day of his life. In just a few hours, he would meet Queen Veltara of the Zephyrian Empire. This was humanity's first real chance to make friends with an alien race that had been around for thousands of years. The USS Harmony was not a big ship, but it was perfect for this mission. Captain Ben Hayes had picked the best crew he could find. Jake was the lead diplomat because he had talked to many different groups of people before. He was good at making peace when people disagreed, but he had never talked to aliens before. Jake walked down the narrow hall to the main meeting room. Lisa Grant was already there, working on a strange metal box covered in blinking lights. This was the universal translator device. It was supposed to change human words into alien words and alien words into human words. Without it, Jake and the Queen would not be able to talk to each other at all. "How does it look, Lisa?" Jake asked. Lisa looked up from the device. She had short brown hair and smart green eyes. "It should work fine," she said. "I ran all the tests 3 times. The quantum systems are working well. There are some small problems, but nothing serious." Jake nodded. He trusted Lisa. She was the smartest person he knew when it came to alien technology. If she said the translator would work, then it would work. Dr. Amy Stone came into the room carrying a thick book and several data pads. She was the team's expert on alien behavior and culture. For the past 6 months, she had studied everything humans knew about the Zephyrians. "Are you ready for your final lesson?" Dr. Stone asked Jake. Jake sat down at the metal table. "Tell me again about their greeting." Dr. Stone opened her book. "The Zephyrians are very proud people. They have rules for everything. When you meet Queen Veltara, you must do exactly what I taught you. First, you put your right hand over your heart. Then you bow your head just a little bit. Not too much, or she will think you are weak. Not too little, or she will think you are rude." Jake practiced the movement. Right hand over heart, small bow of the head. "Good," Dr. Stone said. "Now for the words. You must say, 'May your crystals shine with the light of wisdom, Your Majesty.' You must say it slowly and clearly. The tone of your voice is very important to them." Jake repeated the word several times. The Zephyrians had skin that looked like colored glass or crystal. The color of their skin changed based on how they felt. Dr. Stone had told him that Queen Veltara's skin would probably be purple or blue when they met. Purple meant she was being formal and royal. Blue meant she was curious about something new. "What happens if I make a mistake?" Jake asked. Dr. Stone looked serious. "The Zephyrians care a lot about respect and honor. If you insult the Queen by accident, it could end all talks between our people. They might never want to see humans again." Captain Hayes walked into the room. He was a tall man with gray hair and a calm way of speaking. "We're almost there," he said. "The Zephyrian ships are coming to meet us." Jake looked out the small window. In the distance, he could see 3 alien ships moving toward them. The ships were beautiful. They looked like they were made of the same crystal material as Zephyrian skin. They glowed with soft blue light and moved through space like dancers. "They're so graceful," Lisa said, looking over Jake's shoulder. "Everything about their culture is like that," Dr. Stone explained. "They think beauty and grace are just as important as strength or intelligence. That's why their greeting ceremony is so complex. It's not just about being polite, it's about showing that you understand what they value." One of the Zephyrian ships moved very close to the USS Harmony. Captain Hayes got a message on his communication device. "They want us to follow them to the capital ship," he said. "Queen Veltara is waiting for us there." Jake felt his heart beat faster. He had been preparing for this moment for months, but now that it was really happening, he felt nervous. The future of human relationships with the Zephyrians depended on the next few hours. Lisa closed the translator device and picked it up. "This will work perfectly," she said. "Don't worry, Jake. Just be yourself." "Remember," Dr. Stone added, "the Zephyrians respect honesty and courage. They have been watching us for a while before agreeing to this meeting. They already know that humans are brave explorers. Now they want to know if we can also be good friends. The USS Harmony followed the Zephyrian ships through space. Soon they could see the capital ship ahead of them. It was huge, much bigger than any human ship. It looked like a floating crystal palace with towers and bridges that sparkled with different colors of light. "Look at that," Captain Hayes said with wonder in his voice. "They built that ship to be a work of art, not just a machine." Jake watched the beautiful ship grow larger as they got closer. Somewhere inside that ship, Queen Veltara was waiting to meet the first human diplomat ever to visit her people. Jake thought about all the things that could go right or wrong in the next few hours. "The docking bay is opening," Captain Hayes announced. "It's time to go." Jake, Lisa, and Dr. Stone gathered their things and walked to the shuttle that would take them to the Zephyrian ship. Lisa carried the translator device carefully. Dr. Stone had her notes about Zephyrian culture. Jake carried only his courage and hope that this meeting would start a friendship between their two peoples. As their shuttle flew toward the alien ship, Jake practiced the greeting one more time in his mind. Right hand over heart, small bow, and the words, "May your crystals shine with the light of wisdom, Your Majesty." He had no way of knowing that in just a few minutes, those words would come out completely wrong and change everything. The shuttle landed softly inside the Zephyrian capital ship. Jake Miller looked around in amazement as they stepped out. The docking bay was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls, floor, and ceiling were all made of the same crystal material as the ships outside. Soft light seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. 2 Zephyrian guards waited for them. They were tall and thin, much taller than humans. Their skin really did look like colored glass. Right now, both guards had light blue skin, which Dr. Stone had said meant they were curious but not worried. "Welcome to the Royal Ship Eternal Light," one of the guards said. The translator device in Lisa's hands turned his musical alien words into clear English. "Queen Veltara waits for you in the throne room." Jake nodded politely. The guards led them through long hallways filled with beautiful artwork. Jake saw paintings that seemed to move and change as he looked at them. He saw sculptures made of crystal that sang soft songs as they walked by. "This is incredible," Lisa whispered. "Stay focused," Dr. Stone reminded them quietly. "Remember, this is a formal meeting. We need to show respect." They walked for several minutes through the amazing ship. Finally, they came to 2 huge doors made of gold and crystal. The doors opened by themselves, and Jake saw the throne room for the first time. It was the most beautiful room Jake had ever seen. The ceiling was so high he could barely see the top. Crystal columns held up the roof, and each column was a different color. The floor was made of smooth white stone that reflected the colored light from above. But what really took Jake's breath away was the sight of Queen Veltara herself. She sat on a throne made of pure crystal at the far end of the room. She was even taller than the guards, and her skin was a deep, royal purple color. She wore a crown that looked like it was made of starlight. Around the throne room, hundreds of Zephyrian nobles stood watching. Their skin colors were mostly blue and purple, showing curiosity and formal respect. Jake had never felt so many eyes watching him at once. The guards led Jake, Lisa, and Dr. Stone down a long path toward the throne. Each step echoed in the huge room. Jake tried to remember everything Dr. Stone had taught him about Zephyrian customs. When they reached the correct distance from the throne, the guards stopped. Jake knew this was his moment. He stepped forward, put his right hand over his heart, and bowed his head slightly, just as he had practiced. "May your crystals shine with the light of wisdom, Your Majesty," Jake said clearly. But something was wrong. As soon as Jake spoke, he heard gasps from the Zephyrian nobles around the room. Queen Veltara's purple skin began to change. It turned red, then darker red, then almost black. Jake had never seen Dr. Stone mention these colors before, but he knew they were not good. Lisa looked down at the translator device in her hands. Her face went white with fear. The device was flashing red warning lights. Something had gone very wrong with the translation. Queen Veltara stood up from her throne. When she spoke, her voice was loud and angry. The translator device turned her words into English, and Jake felt his heart stop. "How dare you insult me in my own throne room," the Queen said. "You mock my royal crystals and call me names fit only for the lowest criminal." Jake stared in shock. "Your Majesty, I don't understand. I said the proper greeting, I showed respect." But the translator device was making his words even worse. Whatever Jake said in English was coming out as more insults in the Zephyrian language. The Queen's skin grew even darker with rage. "You continue to mock me," Queen Veltara shouted. "You dare to stand in my presence and call me more foul names." All around the throne room, the Zephyrian nobles were changing color too. Their skin went from blue and purple to angry orange and threatening black. Some of them began to move toward Jake and his team. Dr. Stone stepped closer to Jake. "Something is very wrong," she whispered. "The device is translating everything backwards." Lisa was working frantically on the translator device. "There's been some kind of system failure," she said quietly. "I think a solar flare damaged the quantum core while we were traveling here. The device is mixing our words with random data from the ship's computer." Captain Hayes's voice came through their communication devices. "Jake, what's happening down there? The Zephyrian ships around us are taking attack positions." Jake tried to speak to the Queen again, but every word he said made things worse. The translator device was turning his apologies into more insults. His explanations became mockery. His pleas for understanding became threats. Queen Veltara raised her hand and all the nobles in the room stopped moving. Her skin was now completely black, a color that Dr. Stone realized meant deadly anger. "Guards," the Queen commanded. "Arrest these humans. They have shown their true nature. They are mockers and barbarians who cannot be trusted." 20 Zephyrian guards moved into the throne room. They carried weapons that glowed with the same crystal light as everything else on the ship. Jake knew there was no point in fighting. Even if they could win against 20 guards, there were thousands more Zephyrians on the ship. "Your Majesty, please listen." Jake tried one more time, but the broken translator device turned his words into what sounded like more jokes about her appearance. The Queen's skin went even darker than before. "Take them to the detention cells," she ordered. "I will decide their punishment after I speak with my council." The guards surrounded Jake, Lisa, and Dr. Stone. As they were led away from the throne room, Jake could hear Queen Veltara speaking to her nobles. "Send a message to all Zephyrian ships," she said. "These humans have revealed their true nature. They pretend to come in peace, but they are mockers who make fun of our most sacred traditions. No human ship will be welcome in our space again." As they walked through the crystal hallways toward the detention area, Lisa continued working on the translator device. "I can fix this," she said quietly. "But I need time and the right tools." "What exactly did the device make me say?" Jake asked Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone looked sick. "Instead of 'May your crystals shine with the light of wisdom,' the device made you say 'May your crystals crack like cheap glass, you oversized disco ball.'" Jake felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. In Zephyrian culture, the crystals in their skin were sacred. They believed the crystals connected them to their gods and their ancestors. Insulting someone's crystals was like insulting their soul. "And when you tried to apologize," Dr. Stone continued, "the device made it sound like you were making fun of her height, her crown, and her voice." Every word made it worse. The guards put them in 3 separate cells made of the same crystal material as the rest of the ship. Jake sat on the hard crystal bench and put his head in his hands. He had come here to make friends between humans and Zephyrians. Instead, he had destroyed any chance of peace between their peoples. Through the crystal walls, he could see Lisa still working on the translator device. Dr. Stone was watching the guards and taking notes about their behavior. Even in this terrible situation, his team was still trying to find a way to fix things. Jake thought about Captain Hayes and the crew of the USS Harmony. By now, they probably knew that the mission had failed. The Zephyrian ships would force them to leave, and they would have to go back to Earth with news of disaster. But as Jake sat in his crystal cell, he began to think. The situation was bad, very bad, but humans had faced impossible situations before and found ways to survive. Maybe, Just maybe there was still a way to turn this disaster into something good. He just had to figure out how. Jake Miller sat in his crystal cell for what felt like hours. The walls were clear, so he could see Lisa Grant in the cell next to him and Dr. Amy Stone in the cell on the other side. Lisa had been allowed to keep the broken translator device, and she worked on it constantly with the few tools the guards had let her keep. The Zephyrian guards stood watch outside their cells. Jake noticed that these guards were different from the ones in the throne room. Their crystal skin had different patterns, and they seemed to come from different parts of the Zephyrian Empire. Some had skin that sparkled like diamonds. Others had skin that looked more like colored glass. Dr. Stone was watching the guards too. She took notes in a small book she always carried. Even as a prisoner, she was still trying to learn about Zephyrian culture. "Jake," Lisa called softly from her cell. "I think I know what went wrong with the translator." Jake moved closer to the crystal wall between their cells. "What happened?" "When we flew through that solar storm yesterday, it damaged the quantum processing core," Lisa explained. "The device started mixing our language database with random files from the ship's computer. That's why your greeting came out wrong." "Can you fix it?" Jake asked. Lisa held up a small piece of the device. "I can fix it, but I need a quantum stabilizer crystal. The guards told me the Zephyrians use the same type of crystal in their communication systems, but they won't give me one." Dr. Stone looked up from her notes. "I've been watching our guards. Did you notice that they haven't hurt us or been mean to us? In many cultures, prisoners who insult the ruler are treated very badly. But these guards are just doing their job." Jake thought about this. What does that mean? "It means the Zephyrians follow rules even when they're angry," Dr. Stone said. "They won't just kill us or hurt us. They have laws about how to treat prisoners. That gives us time." One of the guards walked over to their cells. His skin was light green, which none of them had seen before. "You will face trial in 3 days," he said through the translator device on his belt. "Queen Veltara and the High Council will decide your punishment then." After the guard walked away, Jake felt a little hope. 3 days was not much time, but it was better than being executed immediately. "Dr. Stone," Jake said, "what can you tell me about Zephyrian trials?" Dr. Stone flipped through her notes. "From what I studied, they believe in something called truth through action. They don't just listen to what someone says, they want to see what someone does. The accused person can request a chance to prove their worth through some kind of test or challenge." Jake's mind began working. "So instead of just saying we're sorry, we could ask for a chance to prove that humans are good?" "Maybe," Dr. Stone said. "But it would have to be something that shows our best qualities. Something that proves we're worth having as friends." Lisa looked up from the translator device. "I've been thinking about what makes humans different from other species we've met. We're not the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced, but we're really good at solving problems in new ways." Jake nodded. "We're creative. We think outside the box. We don't give up when things look impossible." "Exactly," Lisa said. "And we're good at working together. Even now in these cells, we're not just sitting here feeling sorry for ourselves. We're planning and thinking and trying to find a solution." Dr. Stone was still watching the guards. "I've noticed something else. The Zephyrians are very set in their ways. They've been doing things the same way for thousands of years. That makes them stable and wise, but maybe it also makes them stuck." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "I mean, maybe they have problems that they can't solve because they always try to solve them the same old way," Dr. Stone explained. "If we could help them solve a problem they can't solve themselves, that would prove humans are useful friends to have." Jake felt excitement growing in his chest. "So when we go to trial, instead of just apologizing for the translator problem, we ask for a chance to help them with something." "But it would have to be something really difficult," Lisa said. "Something their best people have already tried to fix." Over the next day, they learned more about their situation. The guards brought them food and water. The food was strange, but not bad. It tasted like fruits Jake had never eaten before. The guards were polite but not friendly. They answered basic questions but wouldn't talk about anything important. Jake noticed that their guard duty changed every few hours. This gave him a chance to observe different Zephyrians. Some had skin like blue diamonds. Others had skin like red glass. A few had skin that looked like gold crystal. I think the different skin types come from different planets in their empire, Dr. Stone said. Look at how they stand and move. Each group has slightly different body language. Lisa made an important discovery on the second day. I figured out how to make the translator work for short periods, she said. I can't fix it completely without that crystal I need, but I can make it work long enough to have a real conversation. That's great, Jake said. When we go to trial, we can at least explain what really happened. But Dr. Stone looked worried. Explaining the mistake might not be enough. The Queen was really angry. And from what I've observed, the Zephyrians take insults to their honor very seriously. Even if they believe it was an accident, they might still think we're too dangerous to trust. Jake spent the rest of the second day thinking hard. He needed a plan that would not only prove the insult was an accident, but also prove that humans were valuable allies. The plan had to show the best of human nature: creativity, determination, and the ability to solve problems that seemed impossible. On the morning of the third day, Jake was ready. When the guards came to take them to trial, he was calm and confident. He had a plan that just might work. Are you sure about this? Lisa asked as they walked through the crystal hallways toward the trial chamber. No, Jake said honestly. But it's our best chance. We're going to do what humans do best: turn a disaster into an opportunity. Dr. Stone smiled. That's very human of you, Jake. Let's hope the Zephyrians think that's a good thing, Jake replied. As they entered the grand trial chamber, Jake saw Queen Veltara and 12 other Zephyrians sitting at a curved table made of crystal. These must be the High Council members Dr. Stone had told him about. Their skin colors were mostly serious purple and formal blue. Jake took a deep breath. In a few minutes, he would either save human-Zephyrian relations or destroy them forever. But he was ready to try. After all, that's what humans did best. They never gave up, no matter how bad things looked. The Grand Assembly Chamber was even more impressive than the throne room. Jake Miller stood with Lisa Grant and Dr. Amy Stone in the center of a huge crystal amphitheater. Queen Veltara sat at the highest point, looking down at them with skin that was still dark with anger. 12 High Council members sat in a semicircle around her, each one representing a different part of Zephyrian society. Jake could see hundreds of other Zephyrians in the viewing areas above them. This trial was clearly important to their entire civilization. The weight of representing all humanity pressed down on his shoulders. A tall Zephyrian with golden skin stood up. This was the prosecutor, the one who would argue that humans were dangerous and should be punished. His skin color showed that he was confident and proud. Great Queen and wise council members, the prosecutor began, these humans have shown their true nature. They came to our sacred throne room and insulted our beloved queen with the worst words possible. They mocked her royal crystals and called her shameful names. This proves that humans are barbarians who cannot be trusted in civilized galactic society. The prosecutor walked back and forth as he spoke. We have tried to be patient with these young species. We agreed to this meeting, even though humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. But they have repaid our kindness with insults and mockery. I say they should be sent away forever, and all humans should be banned from Zephyrian space. When the prosecutor finished, Queen Veltara looked directly at Jake. Human diplomat, you have the right to speak for yourself and your people. What do you say to these charges? Jake stepped forward. Lisa had given him the partially repaired translator device. It would work for a little while, long enough for what he planned to do. Your Majesty and honored council members, Jake began. I want to start by taking full responsibility for what happened. Yes, terrible insults came from my mouth in your throne room. Yes, those words hurt and offended you. I do not deny this. Surprised, whispers came from the viewing areas. The prosecutor looked confused. Most people on trial tried to deny their crimes or make excuses, Jake continued. But I want to show you exactly what happened so you can decide for yourselves what kind of people humans really are. Jake nodded to Lisa. She activated the translator device and set it to demonstration mode. The device projected a hologram that showed its internal workings. "This device is supposed to change my words into your language perfectly," Jake explained. "But when we flew through a solar storm on our way here, it was damaged. Watch what happens when I speak into it now." Jake spoke his original greeting into the device. "May your crystals shine with the light of wisdom, Your Majesty." But the device's hologram showed how the damaged circuits mixed his words with random data from their ship's entertainment computer. The result was the terrible insult about cracking crystals and disco balls. "The device was broken," Jake said. "But here's the important thing. We humans could have built a perfect translator that never makes mistakes. Our technology is advanced, enough for that, but we chose not to." This statement caused more surprised whispers. Queen Veltara leaned forward with interest. "We chose to build a device that could make mistakes because we believe that perfect communication is not the same as real understanding," Jake explained. "When two people or two species really want to understand each other, they work through the mistakes together. They learn from the problems. Perfect translation would mean never having to really try to understand each other." Dr. Stone stepped forward. "Your Majesty, in the 3 days we have been your prisoners, we have learned to read the emotions in Zephyrian crystal skin patterns. We can now tell the difference between curiosity blue and formal blue. We know that golden skin means confidence and green skin means thoughtfulness. Most Zephyrians take years to learn these subtle differences, but humans learned them in just 3 days." Queen Veltara's skin shifted slightly toward a lighter shade, showing the first sign of interest she had displayed since the disaster in the throne room. Jake saw his chance. "Your Majesty, we humans have a saying, actions speak louder than words. Instead of just asking you to forgive us, we would like to ask for a chance to prove what humans are really like. Give us a problem that your best people cannot solve. If we can solve it using only the resources that any Zephyrian crew would have, then judge us by what we accomplish, not by the words that came from a broken machine." The council members looked at each other with surprise. Their skin colors showed that they were intrigued but uncertain. This was clearly not how trials usually went. Queen Veltara was quiet for a long moment. Her skin slowly changed from anger black to thinking purple. Finally, she spoke. "You ask for a chance to prove yourselves through action rather than words?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Jake replied. "Let our deeds show you who we really are." The Queen looked at her council members. They had a quick conversation in their musical language. Jake couldn't understand the words, but he could see their skin colors, changing as they discussed his request. Finally, Queen Veltara stood up. "Very well, human Jake Miller. I will give you the chance you ask for, but the challenge will not be easy, and failure will mean not just your death, but the end of all contact between our peoples." Jake felt his heart beating fast, but he kept his voice steady. "We accept, Your Majesty." Queen Veltara's skin shifted to a formal announcement color, deep purple with gold highlights. "On the outer edge of our empire is mining station Keth 7. For 6 months, our best engineers have been unable to solve a problem there. Our quantum resonance drilling equipment keeps failing for no reason that our scientists can find. The station produces crystals that are essential for our communication systems throughout the Empire." She paused, looking directly at Jake. "You and your team will go to this station. You will have access to the same tools and resources as our engineers, but nothing more. You will have 7 days to solve this problem. If you succeed, you will be forgiven and welcomed as friends. If you fail, if we fail, we accept whatever punishment you think is right," Jake said. Queen Veltara nodded. "So be it. Guards, prepare a transport ship. The humans will leave for mining station Keth 7 immediately." As they were led from the trial chamber, Lisa whispered to Jake, "Do you have any idea how we're going to solve a problem that Zephyrian engineers couldn't figure out?" Jake smiled. "Not yet, but we'll think of something. We always do." Dr. Stone looked excited despite their dangerous situation. "This is perfect, actually. If there's one thing humans are really good at, it's solving problems that seem impossible. We just have to think differently than the Zephyrians do." The question is, Lisa said, how do we think differently than a species that's been around for thousands of years and is much more advanced than we are? Jake watched the crystal walls of the corridor as they walked toward their transport ship. We think like humans, he said simply. We look at things they can't see. We try things they wouldn't try. We refuse to give up even when the situation looks hopeless. That's a very human approach, Dr. Stone said with a small smile. Let's hope it's enough, Jake replied. As they boarded the transport ship that would take them to mining station Keth 7, Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. The future of humanity's relationship with the Zephyrian Empire depended on the next 7 days. But for the first time since the disaster in the throne room, Jake felt hopeful. They had been given a chance to show what humans could really do. Now they just had to prove they were worthy of it. The transport ship landed on mining station Keith 7 after 2 days of travel through space. Jake Miller looked out the window as they approached the station. It was built on a large asteroid that was rich in the special crystals the Zephyrians needed for their communication systems. The station looked like a crystal city growing out of solid rock. Administrator next door met them at the landing pad. He was shorter than most Zephyrians, with skin that looked like blue-green crystal. His skin color showed that he was tired and frustrated. "Welcome to Station Keth 7, he said through his translator device. "I hope you can succeed where our best engineers have failed, but I must tell you honestly, I do not think you will be able to help us. Tell us about the problem," Jake said as they walked through the station's crystal corridors. Administrator next door led them to the main drilling area. It was a huge underground chamber filled with massive machines that looked like metal trees, with crystal branches. These were the quantum resonance drills that were supposed to extract crystals from deep inside the asteroid. The drills worked perfectly for years, next door explained. Then 6 months ago they started shutting down for no reason. Our computers say everything is working correctly, but the drills stop working randomly. Sometimes they work for an hour, sometimes for a whole day, but they always stop eventually. Lisa Grant examined one of the drill machines. It was beautiful and complex, far more advanced than any human mining equipment. "What have your engineers tried?" she asked. "Everything," Nextdoor said with frustration in his voice. "We have replaced every part. We have upgraded all the software. We have checked every power connection and every computer circuit. Our best engineers have spent months studying these machines, but they cannot find what is wrong." Dr. Amy Stone was looking around the drilling chamber with interest. "How deep do these drills go?" "About 5 kilometers down into the asteroid," Nextdoor replied. "Deep enough to reach the richest crystal deposits." Jake watched the Zephyrian engineers working on the machines. They were clearly very smart and very careful. They followed detailed procedures and checked everything multiple times. But Jake noticed something about their approach that seemed very Zephyrian. They were focused completely on the machines themselves. "Lisa," Jake said quietly, "what do you think?" Lisa had been studying the drilling equipment for an hour. "The machines look perfect to me. If I didn't know they were having problems, I would say these drills should work perfectly." "So what could be causing the shutdowns?" Jake asked. "I don't know yet," Lisa said, "but I have an idea. The Zephyrians are looking at the equipment. Maybe we should look at everything else." Dr. Stone understood immediately. "You mean the environment around the equipment?" "Exactly," Lisa said. "Humans always think about how things affect each other. Maybe something about this asteroid is interfering with the drills." Jake felt excitement growing. This was exactly the kind of different thinking that might solve the problem. "Administrator next door, could we borrow some basic sensor equipment?" Of course," next door said. "But our engineers have already scanned everything in this chamber many times." "We want to scan different things," Dr. Stone explained. For the next 2 days, the human team worked around the clock. Lisa used simple sensors to measure things the Zephyrian engineers had never thought to check. She measured vibrations in the EU asteroid rock. She checked for electromagnetic fields that had nothing to do with the drilling equipment. She even measured the temperature of the air at different times of day. Dr. Stone studied the work patterns of the Zephyrian miners and engineers. She noticed that their crystal skin made them sensitive to certain types of energy that humans couldn't even feel. Jake coordinated their efforts and talked to the Zephyrian workers. He learned that the drill shutdown seemed to follow no pattern that anyone could understand. Sometimes multiple drills would shut down at the same time. Sometimes only one drill would stop working while others kept running. On the third day, Lisa made a discovery. "Jake, come look at this," she called excitedly. Lisa had set up sensors deep in the drilling shafts. "I found something the Zephyrians couldn't detect," she said. "There's a natural resonance frequency coming from deep inside the asteroid. It's so faint that their equipment doesn't even register it." "What kind of resonance?" Jake asked. "It's like the whole asteroid is humming a very quiet song," Lisa explained. "The frequency matches the operating frequency of the drilling equipment almost exactly. When the natural resonance gets strong enough, it interferes with the drills and makes them shut down." Dr. Stone looked thoughtful. "Why couldn't the Zephyrians detect this?" "Because their crystal skin makes them naturally sensitive to this type of energy," Lisa said. "It's like trying to see your own eyes. The resonance is part of their environment, so they don't notice it." Jake felt pieces of the puzzle clicking together in his mind. So the solution is not to fight the resonance, but to work with it. "Exactly," Lisa said. "Instead of trying to overpower the asteroid's natural frequency, we tune the drills to work in harmony with it." Administrator next door was skeptical when they explained their discovery. "Our best scientists have studied resonance frequencies for centuries," he said. "If there was such a frequency, we would have found it." "Respectfully," Dr. Stone said, "you couldn't find it because you're too close to it. Sometimes you need an outside perspective to see what's right in front of you." Lisa spent the next day working with Zephyrian engineers to recalibrate the drilling equipment. It was delicate work that required both human creativity and Zephyrian technical knowledge. The two groups had to learn to work together, sharing ideas and techniques. Jake watched the cooperation with satisfaction. This was what first contact should really be like. Different species learning from each other and becoming stronger together. On the sixth day, they tested the modified drilling equipment. Administrator next door and dozens of Zephyrian engineers gathered in the main chamber to watch. Lisa activated the first drill. Instead of fighting against the asteroid's natural resonance, the drill synchronized with it. The machine hummed in perfect harmony with the rock around it. "It's working," one of the Zephyrian engineers exclaimed. His skin flashed bright yellow with excitement. They tested all the drills over the next several hours. Not only did they work without shutting down, but they actually worked 30% more efficiently than before. The natural resonance of the asteroid was helping the drills instead of fighting them. Administrator next door sent an immediate message to Queen Veltara. "The humans have solved our problem," he reported. "They found something our best engineers missed for 6 months. The drilling station is working better than ever." On the 7th day, Queen Veltara's personal ship arrived at mining station Keth 7. Jake and his team met her in the station's main conference room. Her skin color was no longer black with anger. Instead, it was a warm golden color that Dr. Stone said meant respect and friendship. "You have done something remarkable," Queen Veltara said. "Not only did you solve our problem, but you did it by working with our engineers instead of replacing them. You showed that humans and Zephyrians can accomplish more together than either species can alone." Jake bowed respectfully. "We learned as much from your people as they learned from us, Your Majesty." Queen Veltara smiled. "I hereby pardon you for the incident in the throne room. More than that, I invite humanity to become formal allies of the Zephyrian Empire. We have much to teach each other." Dr. Stone stepped forward. "Your Majesty, if I may say so, this whole experience shows that sometimes the worst disasters can lead to the best outcomes. If our translator had worked perfectly, we would have had a polite meeting and gone home. Instead, we got to really know each other." "You are wise for such a young species," Queen Veltara said. "Perhaps that is humanity's greatest strength. You turn problems into opportunities." As they prepared to return to the USS Harmony, Jake reflected on everything that had happened. They had come to make friends with an alien species and had accidentally insulted their queen. But by staying true to human values, taking responsibility, working together and never giving up, they had turned a disaster into the beginning of a strong alliance. Lisa finished packing the repaired translator device. "You know," she said, "I'm almost glad it broke. We learned more about the Zephyrians in 1 week than we would have learned in months of formal meetings." "That's very human thinking," Dr. Stone said with a laugh. As their ship left mining station Keth 7, Jake looked back at the crystal structures growing from the asteroid. Somewhere in those buildings, human and Zephyrian engineers were working together to improve the mining operations even more. Captain Ben Hayes welcomed them back aboard the USS Harmony. "So," he said with a smile. "How did it go?" Jake thought. About the question. They had insulted an alien queen, been thrown in prison, put on trial for their lives, and challenged to solve an impossible problem. But they had also made the first real friends humanity had found among the stars. "It went perfectly," Jake said. "Exactly the way first contact should go." Dr. Stone was already planning their next mission. In her report, she wrote, "Humans have a unique gift for turning disasters into opportunities. This ability, combined with our curiosity about other cultures and our willingness to work to